moment moves too quickly, where time slips like water through our fingers, we invite you to pause. Welcome to TERAFLORA Studio, a gentle space where creativity takes root in the simplest of things, where empty bottles are not waste, but waiting, and where gardens don't always begin with seeds, but with stories, light, and a willingness to see beauty in the overlooked. This is not just another DIY video, it's a soft journey through 21 soulful ideas that turn plastic bottles, ordinary and forgotten, into something warm, useful, and alive. Not with perfection, but with care. You'll hear stories of hanging herb towers swaying in the morning sun, of wind spirals catching light like whispers, of bottle bricks that remember every step you take. These creations are real, simple, quiet, and most of all, doable by anyone, anywhere. We believe beauty isn't found in what we buy, but in what we choose to make with our hands and hearts. If these gentle moments inspire you, if you find comfort in slow creation and soulful design, we kindly invite you to subscribe to TERAFLORA Studio. It's more than a channel. It's a growing garden of peace, made from recycled things and shared dreams. Now, let us begin. There is a corner of the world, quiet and often overlooked, where hope begins with nothing but a plastic bottle. It might be beside a stone wall, or on a weathered balcony, but in that space, something wondrous happens. A bottle, once cast aside, finds purpose again, not as waste, but as cradle for life. Here, in these bottle tower planters, beauty rises not in grandeur, but in layers. 3, sometimes 4, bottles stacked like a chorus of second chances, each cut with care, their necks cradling soil, roots, water. They are not perfect. Some paint runs like tears, some edges slightly rough, but that's the magic. Their flaws become fingerprints of those who shaped them. Mothers with tired hands, children with wide eyes, elders with quiet smiles. In one tower, mint spills like laughter down the side. In another, basil leans toward the light, fragrant and full. The plastic is painted or sometimes left bare, its old branding faded like memory. Twine wraps each level in a tender spiral, holding everything steady with rustic honesty. The process is simple and slow: cut, stack, fill, plant, but its gift is profound. No vast garden is needed, no expert tools, just intention, just time. These towers belong in spaces where hope once felt too small to grow. A cramped balcony, a rented rooftop, a forgotten stairwell corner. Tips come gently. Use bottles of the same height for balance. Paint with soft, natural tones if desired, or let the raw transparency speak. Poke holes for drainage. Choose plants with shallow roots. Herbs, succulents, trailing vines. Let the tower lean into the sunlight. Water with care. Observe, adjust, repeat. These planters are more than decoration. They are a quiet declaration that life can bloom from what we throw away, that joy can grow upward tier by tier, even when space is scarce. They teach us to see beauty in the unfinished, the frayed, the flawed. And so, one morning when you sip from a bottle, pause. Turn it over in your hand. Imagine what it could become. Not trash, but a tower, totem of care, a garden rising. In the hush of early morning, before traffic hums and kettle whistles, something green leans quietly toward the sun. From an old balcony rail or beneath a humble pergola, upside-down bottles sway gently in the breeze. Once discarded and cracked, now reborn, they cradle herbs in a dance of inversion. Their roots stretch downward like softened thread, suspended in air and time. From rosemary's sharp green to the velvet of mint, life flows freely in reverse. These are hanging herb bottle planters, not store-bought, not perfect, but personal and beautifully alive. Each bottle holds more than soil or water. It holds rhythm. A cloth wick threads through the cap, drawing moisture with patient breath. The roots curl inside like secret notes, absorbing what they need. The herbs? They flourish, dangling, fragrant, resilient. This isn't gardening in the traditional sense. It's a gentle rebellion, a vertical whisper against the idea that we need sprawling land to grow life. This is a garden for the dreamers of tight spaces, for apartment windows, railings, the forgotten edges of laundry corners. Making them is tender work. Wash the bottle, slice a generous opening on the side, which becomes the top. Thread a strip of cloth through the cap, like a bridge between soil and water. Fill with lightweight earth, tuck in your herb, then flip it gently. Hang it with jute, rope, wire, whatever your hands can tie. And when you step back, it begins, a hanging pantry of scent and flavor. Basil that greets you before lunch, oregano that brushes your shoulder as you pass, a leaf of mint for your tea, plucked in silence before the day truly begins. Over time, these bottles become more than planters. They become memories. You'll recall the day you painted one blue, or when your child drew a smiley face with a marker. You'll remember how time seemed slow to sprout, but eventually took over like a wild song. So don't wait for a garden. Let it hang. Let it drift in the morning air, dripping peace, scent, and the sweet reminder that even upside down, life finds its way. There's a hush around the garden pond, where dragonflies hover like tiny guardians and lily pads drift like forgotten thoughts. Then, with a ripple and a sigh, a ship arrives, small, brave, and handmade from a bottle that once knew only soda and waste. It doesn't roar, it whispers, made of plastic, yes, but now a pirate ship, gliding quietly across still water. Its hull curved from a cut bottle, painted brown with uneven brushstrokes that tell of eager little hands. A mast rises from a popsicle stick, its sail a scrap of old cloth stitched with laughter. A crooked black flag waves at the breeze, more playful than menacing. This is a child's dream brought to life, and it floats. Crafting it is like building a memory. You begin with a clean bottle, 1 liter, 2 liters, it doesn't matter. Cut carefully along the side to create a boat-like body. Tape or glue can anchor the mast. A scrap of paper, a piece of burlap, or an old handkerchief becomes your sail. Add rails with sticks, twine, or even toothpicks, and then decorate. Buttons for windows, marker lines for cannons, a pebble for treasure in the belly of the hull. There's no right or wrong, just imagination. Place it in a still pond or even a basin and it sets sail. Slowly, peacefully, it drifts through sun and shadow. Children might watch in awe. Adults might pause, caught in a tide of nostalgia. Here, in this little boat, is time slowed down. You don't need a big yard. You don't need a budget. You only need a story and a bottle to hold it. Sometimes the pond becomes an ocean, the garden becomes a harbor, and the air smells of adventure, even if only for an afternoon. Let the boat sail again tomorrow. Let it tip, dry, and float once more. You'll fix its mast, repaint its flag, tuck a note in the hull. Captain Lily was here, and maybe, just maybe, it becomes something more than decor. A ritual, a memory, a voyage that begins not on the sea, but in your hands. And in this quiet creation, trash becomes treasure, a bottle becomes a ship, and the ordinary becomes unforgettable. In the hush of an early morning kitchen, where windows breathe in light and quiet hums through the corners, a revolution quietly unfolds, transparent, suspended, and alive. It begins not in the soil, but in water, not with pots, but with bottles, discarded plastic, cut and shaped into hydroponic cradles for life. Here, on a narrow shelf or humble sill, roots dangle like silken threads inside half bottles. They do not hide. They do not clutch earth. They float, exposed and honest, drinking deeply from still water and gentle care. This is the bottle hydroponic garden, a quiet, clean way to grow green from nothing but what most would toss. Pak choi stretches upward, firm and bright. Basil fans out slowly, each leaf glistening with morning mist. Mint curls downward like a soft breath. And below, the roots, delicate as veins in glass, whisper growth without drama. The setup is simpler than it looks. Begin with a used plastic bottle, washed, label peeled. Cut it cleanly in half. Invert the top like a funnel and place it into the bottom, which you've half filled with water. A cloth or cotton rope acts as a wick, pulling water gently upward. Fill the top with a hydroponic medium, clay pellets, sponge, or even moss. Add your sprouting seedling. That's it. No soil, no heavy lifting, just sunlight, patience, and recycled grace. Each bottle becomes a song of clarity. No mess, no bugs, no weeding, just quiet growth visible from every angle. And the learning is constant. You watch how roots twist and stretch, how light changes the color of a leaf, how one droplet becomes a meal. You become part of the rhythm, a steward, not a master. For those in small apartments or tight spaces, this is hope made practical. You don't need acres. You need intention. You don't need money. You need a bottle. With every harvest, with every snip of fresh greens added to a morning toast or evening broth, you remember, beauty doesn't need to be buried in soil. Sometimes it floats. Sometimes it hangs by a thread. And sometimes it begins where you least expect it, at the bottom of a bottle. There's a moment in every quiet garden where sunlight lands just right, across the edge of a porch or along a stone step, and turns even the smallest bloom into a celebration. And in that golden space, something unexpected rises. A pedestal not of marble or metal, but of plastic, paint, and love. These are bottle pedestal plant stands, cheerful, upcycled columns of joy. They begin their life as bottles tossed aside, unnoticed. But in the right hands, they bloom anew, lifted, painted, repurposed into candy-colored cups of soil and color. Each one is different. One leans slightly to the left. Another has dots that run a little wild. The pink might be too bright, the yellow a bit patchy. But together, they dance in a line like confetti tossed on the earth. To make one is simple. Slice a bottle near its widest part. Invert the top and glue it onto its own base or a second bottle's neck. This becomes your goblet, your chalice of bloom. Let it dry. Then, with any paint you have, acrylics, leftovers from the kids' room, begin to decorate. Stripes, stars, vines, flowers, or no pattern at all. Whatever your brush wants to say. Once painted, let them sit in the sun. Let the colors deepen. Let imperfections harden into beauty. Fill each one with soil, a succulent, a tiny daisy, or a handful of clover gathered from your walk. Then place them where they can be seen, lining a path beside a doorstep, on a railing or low wall. They don't demand grandeur, just space to be. Children love them, elders smile at them, visitors ask questions, and each planter answers not with speech, but with presence. They remind us that joy doesn't always come from what we buy. Sometimes it grows from what we make, from what we choose not to throw away. And when the flowers eventually fade, the pedestal remains, ready for a new bloom, a new morning, a new chapter. So the next time you pass a bottle, hold it a little longer. Picture it upside down, painted and proud. Picture a flower rising from it, not because it's perfect, but because it was chosen, crafted, lifted, a little joy standing tall. In the quiet corners of a garden, where bees hum and petals sleep, there is sometimes a song we forget to hear, the voice of the wind. But not here. Here, in a patch of green where plastic bottles once lay forgotten, the breeze finds its playground. Spinners, hand-cut and brightly painted, twirl with delight. They spin not to show direction, but to celebrate movement, color, and second chances. This is the bottle wind spinner garden, where the wind itself becomes an artist. Crafted from soda or water bottles, each spinner is a burst of imagination, cut into petals or blades, curled with warmth, and brushed with cheerful paint. They catch the air like old pinwheels at a fair. But these aren't toys from a store. They're born from afternoons spent with scissors, paint, and patience. To make one, Start with a clean plastic bottle. Slice the body into long petals, wide or thin, even or uneven, it doesn't matter. Curl the tips slightly over a candle's warmth or a hairdryer's breath. Paint them boldly. Sunflower yellow, ocean blue, cherry red. Let the colors dry under the sun. Then mount them on sticks, wooden skewers, old wire hangers, or metal rods from broken brooms. Push them into soil, place them in pots, or tuck them along a pathway where the wind knows to visit. And then watch. A single gust sets them dancing. A gentle breeze turns them into whispers of motion. The light bends across the curved plastic, casting playful shadows across leaves and stone. There's something deeply peaceful in their spin. They don't rush. They don't race. They just turn, steady and bright, like thoughts settling on a calm mind. Children watch them in awe. Elders find memories in their rhythm. And in their silent turning, these bottle spinners teach us that even discarded things can still catch the wind and turn it into wonder. Beyond beauty, they serve a purpose. They deter birds. They help you read the breeze before watering. But most of all, they bring joy, unpolished, handmade joy. So the next time the wind brushes your cheek, think of it not as something passing by, but something waiting to be played with. Pick up a bottle, cut, paint, plant, and let the wind sing through your garden once more. In a shaded corner of the garden, where the air smells like damp earth and yesterday's rain, a tiny village begins to grow, not from soil, but from imagination. Nestled beneath the branches of a small tree or tucked between blooming marigolds, the mushroom houses appear. At first, they look like something out of a child's dream. Domed roofs painted in playful reds and forest greens, dotted with uneven white specks like soft snow on velvet. But look closer, and you'll find their truth. They were once just plastic bottles. This is the whimsical bottle mushroom village, a secret crafted not by fairies, but by quiet, loving hands. Each house begins humbly, a bottle emptied and forgotten. But with a bit of trimming, some glue, and a splash of color, it becomes a home. The cap transforms into a toadstool roof. The base is shaped with gentle curves, painted white or cream to mimic stem. Windows are made from popsicle sticks or small pebbles. Doors from scrap cardboard or fabric, each one a little imperfect, each one deeply alive. Moss gathers at the base. Pebbles form walkways. Twigs become chimneys. It's not about precision, it's about wonder. There are no rules in this village. One mushroom leans slightly. Another has a tiny ladder glued to its side. Some have painted flower boxes under the windows. Others hide tiny scrolls with handwritten notes for grandchildren or curious neighbors. To build your own, soak the bottles first for easier cutting. Use matte acrylic paints for a natural storybook finish. Let the paint dry slowly, outside if you can, where the breeze helps it breathe. Place them beneath bushes, at the foot of trees, or even inside your home in potted plants. Let them appear like secrets meant to be discovered. And when you see them, early in the morning, when light first spills across the grass, you'll feel something soft stir inside. A smile, a memory, a sense that the world still holds magic, even in what we throw away. Because the beauty here isn't just in the houses. It's in the pause, the play, the quiet joy of transforming trash into a tiny world where imagination lives and tiny things matter. There's a moment in early morning when light falls like silk, and the breeze carries a hush. It's in that quiet you might notice them. Not real flowers, but just as soft in spirit. Along a pergola's beam, around an old garden gate, or across the archway to your front steps, bottle flowers bloom. They weren't born in soil. They rose from creativity, from yesterday's water jugs and soda bottles, heated, cut, and painted into vines of color and joy. This is bottle flower vine art, where the garden becomes a gallery and plastic turns to poetry. Each bloom begins as a bottle, clear, green, or white. With gentle cuts, the petals unfold. A little warmth, a tea light, a blow dryer, curls the edges into soft spirals. Some form roses, thick with layered curls. Others, simple daisies or starbursts. Paint adds life, mint, peach coral, even translucent pink. No two are alike, and that's the beauty. It's not uniform, it's yours. Thread them on wire, weave them through mesh or fishing line. Twist them around old fencing or along a rail. Let them mingle with ivy, with real vines, with the sunlight that turns them into glass-like miracles. The shadows they cast are soft and moving, like watercolor painted by the wind. You don't need much, just bottles, scissors, wire, paint, and time. It's a slow joy, the making, a kind of meditation. As you shape the petals, your mind softens. As you paint, the world grows quiet. And when you hang them, there's a moment just before stepping back, where the world feels lighter. Because you created something beautiful from something overlooked. These bottle vines don't wilt. They don't fade with the season. They stay bright, hopeful, handmade. They remind us that permanence isn't in perfection, but in presence. In choosing to create rather than discard. So take a bottle, cut it gently, give it warmth, give it color, and place it somewhere the wind can find it. And when your neighbors pass, or your children play beneath, or when you sit alone with a cup of tea, you'll look up and see them bloom. From trash came tender beauty. From your hands, a garden that never fades. There's a kind of magic only water knows, how to dance in sunlight, how to sing in droplets, how to stir the stillness of a garden pond without ever saying a word. And sometimes that magic begins with something simple, something small, something plastic. At the edge of a quiet pond, where lily pads rest and koi glide like painted thoughts, a fountain rises, not tall, not grand, but meaningful. A plastic bottle, pierced with care, now sends ribbons of water arcing through the air like silk threads in motion. This is the Bottle Pond Fountain, a handmade miracle where reuse meets serenity. It starts with a single bottle, soft enough to shape, sturdy enough to hold. With a warm nail or fine drill bit, you pierce holes, tiny, thoughtful, evenly spaced or not. Each puncture becomes a note in the fountain's song. Attach a hose, secure the bottle among stones or beneath a slab of wood. Let water flow, and suddenly, something stirs, the hush of spray, the ripple of light, the applause of leaves under droplets. There is no electricity, no wires, just pressure, just gravity, just the gentle labor of hands that believe even trash can bring joy. The arcs rise and fall. Some leap high, others stay low. They curve like poetry above the surface, disturbing nothing but silence. The fish do not flee, they play beneath. Birds stop to watch. Even the breeze slows down to feel the mist. The beauty lies not just in the fountain, but in its making. Use a moss-wrapped stone to anchor the base, letting the bottle blend into its new role. Choose clear plastic for clean lines, or green bottles for an organic camouflage. Let nature meet invention. This is water as meditation, DIY as therapy, simplicity as art. You'll find yourself checking it not for function, but for presence. Watching the rhythm of spray, noticing how the morning light catches each droplet, feeling calm return, quietly, gently, because the bottle you once tossed aside now offers something more precious than hydration. It offers stillness, a reminder that beauty flows not from cost or complexity, but from care. So next time you see a plastic bottle, hear it whisper, a song, a spray, a second life. There's something deeply human in the act of building a path, a desire not just to go somewhere, but to walk there gently, with intention, with care. And when that path is made from what others discard, it becomes more than a trail. It becomes a testament. Welcome to the Bottle Brick Walkway, a quiet journey crafted from old plastic bottles and patient hands. Imagine a soft garden morning. You walk barefoot, your steps guided by rounded bottle bricks embedded in cool earth. Some are painted in dreamy pastels. Others are clear, catching the sunlight and scattering it like softened stars. Each one holds not just your weight, but a story, a second chance. To create it, begin with clean bottles, soda, water, anything strong. Fill them with sand, soil, or even cement to give them weight and stability. Then turn them upside down, base up. They're circular bottoms, fluted, patterned, sometimes plain, become stepping stones. Set them into the ground with equal spacing. Surround them with gravel or dirt. Let the grass grow between. Let nature soften the edges. Some builders leave the plastic unpainted, allowing it to glimmer in sunlight. Others color each one like candy drops. Blues, yellows, greens, to create a playful mosaic. There's no formula, only rhythm. And it's not just beautiful, strong, durable, weatherproof. A path that says, we used what we had, and walks that truth every day. You'll see it differently each time. In spring, when new grass brushes against the edges. In summer, when water glints across the tops. In autumn, when leaves nestle into crevices. In winter, when frost traces tiny lines on every bottle face. It's a trail that shifts with the seasons, that welcomes every foot, big or small, hurried or slow. And as you walk it, something else happens. You begin to notice your pace. You feel the surface beneath you. You remember that even small steps can be beautiful if laid with care. So gather your bottles, gather your time. Let your garden tell its story, one step at a time. No rush, no waste, just path and purpose, built from yesterday, leading gently into tomorrow. Sometimes, all it takes is color to change a forgotten wall into a place of joy. A patch once bare, gray, or ignored, suddenly becomes a rainbow, blooming not with flowers alone, but with purpose. This is the Rainbow Bottle Wall Garden, a tapestry of reused plastic, sun-washed hues, and thriving greens. It begins with something small, an empty bottle, a splash of paint, a desire to grow where there was once nothing. Cut, painted, and fastened to a wall or fence. These bottles transform into cradles for herbs, lettuce, flowers, and memory. Red for the bold beginnings, yellow for warmth, blue for calm, green for life. Each bottle a brushstroke, each plant a breath. It's more than decoration, it's function wrapped in art. For those with limited space, balconies, small yards, alleyways, this garden grows up instead of out, catches the eye, feeds the soul. And sometimes it even feeds the body. To create your own, start by washing bottles and slicing and opening along the side. Poke drainage holes below, then paint each one in colors that speak to you. Solid, gradient, or playful patterns. Once dry, tie with sturdy twine or mount with screws onto your chosen wall. Line them up in rows or spiral them down in rainbows. Fill each planter with soil and something green, basil, mint, spinach, thyme. Watch as the plants stretch toward the light. Watch as the wall begins to breathe. There's a certain magic that happens here. The way light filters through red plastic and paints the leaves inside. The way children point and smile. The way neighbors slow their walk to admire it, ask questions, and feel inspired to try. This is sustainability in celebration. Beauty with roots. No need for new pots. No need for fancy supplies. Just intention, a little paint, and your hands. And when morning comes and the sun pours across your wall, the colors come alive. Not digital, not filtered, but real. You'll stand with your watering can and feel a gentle pride. Because now, this isn't just a wall. It's a canvas of life. And you are the artist. In the quiet spaces between apartment windows or along the sunlit side of a garden shed, something humble begins to rise, not in silence, but in small green declarations. This is the modular bottle wall garden, where plastic bottles don't pile up in bins, but instead stack neatly into grids of potential. A blank wall becomes soil, a vertical breath of life unfolds in rows and rhythm. Each bottle begins with a history. It once held water, soda, maybe milk. Now it holds mint, or basil, or the soft fuzz of time. Cut open, Flipped sideways, mounted gently, it becomes a planter. Not bought, not branded, but born from choice. The beauty is in its modularity. Each bottle is a unit, a cell in a living puzzle. Add 2 rows this week, 3 next month. Expand with the seasons. Shift, adjust, replace. The wall grows like a living notebook, no page the same. To build your own, clean and cut each bottle horizontally. Slice an opening for planting, poke drainage holes, and fix to a wooden board or wire mesh. Screws, zip ties, or twine will do. Align them in rows, tight and tidy, or whimsical and wandering. Some bottles remain clear, revealing the drama of roots. Others are painted in earthy tones or faded pastels, blending softly into stone, brick, or wood. Fill with herbs, leafy greens, nasturtiums that spill downward in orange joy. Let the plants choose their way, cascading or climbing, whispering stories to the wall. This garden doesn't require ground, only care. It thrives on smallness, small spaces, small efforts, small moments. The kind of gardening you can do after dinner with a headlamp, or early before the world fully wakes. And over time, this wall becomes part of your rhythm. You check each bottle, you water gently, you notice. Growth becomes a habit, a soft insistence. It's not polished, it's not pristine. It is honest, resourceful, and deeply yours. Because behind every square of green is a decision to turn something used into something useful. To let your wall grow wild, not with clutter, but with chlorophyll and color. In every bottle, a beginning. In every row, a garden. Sometimes, the most elegant solutions don't come from blueprints or store shelves. Sometimes, they arrive in the form of a single pierced bottle, quietly delivering life drop by drop. In the hush of a garden just waking, where dew still clings to leaves and the soil holds the chill of night, a smart bottle sprinkler begins its gentle work. Not loud, not complex, just a whisper of water flowing where it's needed most. This is the DIY bottle irrigation sprinkler. A simple, sustainable way to water your garden, made not from gadgets, but from what you already have. It starts with a bottle. Any bottle, washed and emptied. With a heated nail or needle, you puncture holes along one side, small, even purposeful. Then, lay it in the bed of your garden, holes facing upward or sideways depending on the spray you need. Attach it to a garden hose or fill it manually. The result? A soft arc of water, evenly spaced, dancing in sunlight. It's irrigation without expense, engineering without complexity. In raised beds, these bottle sprinklers offer precision, keeping delicate seedlings safe from the gush of watering cans. In wide soil patches, they conserve water, letting it fall slow and steady into the roots. And in tiny balcony gardens, they turn a single bottle into a silent caretaker. You can make one in 5 minutes, but it will serve you for seasons. Secure it with stones. Wrap it in twine for grip. Adjust hole size for pressure. Let it rest where your plants gather. Kale, thyme, tomatoes, basil. Watch the soil darken, drink, breathe. There's joy in this simplicity. A rhythm, a cadence of droplets striking leaves, sliding down stems, sinking into earth. It's more than watering. It's a kind of music, a moment of connection between hand and harvest. And when you stand nearby, watching the arcs glisten in morning light, you'll feel it. The pride not just of growth, but of invention. Of choosing to reuse, to create, to tend without waste. This isn't just about hydration. It's about harmony. So next time you hold an empty bottle, see beyond the plastic. Picture it spraying softly across a bed of green. Picture your garden blooming, not from tools, but from your touch. In a corner where hands create and colors begin, a quiet little army stands, short, rounded, cheerful. They don't shout, they don't shine, but they hold the tools of your dreams. These are bottle pencil organizers, humble vessels crafted from plastic, transformed by brush and filled with purpose. It begins with an empty bottle. Trimmed low, softened by scissors, its base becomes a cradle. Not for water, not anymore, but for pencils, brushes, garden tags, and gentle order. Painted or bare, each container wears the touch of its maker. Uneven lines, thick swirls of color, perhaps a fingerprint left by a child mid-creation. In one, colored pencils bloom like flowers. In another, popsicle sticks labeled with herb names lean gently outward. A third holds paintbrushes drying in the sunlight. They sit not on shelves from stores, but on windowsills, garden benches, old wooden crates. Wherever creativity pauses to breathe, these bottle holders are more than recycled crafts. They are anchors of presence. To make one, clean and cut the bottle near the base. Smooth the edge with sandpaper or a warm blade. Paint freely. Use pastels for a gentle feel or bright colors for joy. Add patterns, flowers, waves, stars, or simple handprints. Let the paint dry under open skies. Then fill, not just with tools, but with intention. Place them in your gardening nook, your child's art corner, or on the porch beside your morning tea. Wherever there's creation, they belong. And when your hands search for that one favorite pen or the chalk marker you always lose, there it is, waiting, nestled in a cup you made. It's not about organization. It's about invitation. An invitation to slow down, to tidy with grace, to recognize that even the smallest space, a crate, a ledge, a tabletop, can become sacred when filled with care. Guests may pause and ask, "Did you make this?" And you'll smile, because yes, you did. With just a bottle, just your time, just enough love to turn waste into something quietly beautiful. So next time you reach for order, don't reach for plastic bins from the store. Reach for a bottle, a brush, and a moment, and create something that holds more than pencils, it holds presence. Sometimes a garden doesn't bloom only from the soil. Sometimes it grows from story, from whimsy, from a flutter of color where none was expected. Among the petals and vines, between the basil and the beans, tiny creatures perch, silent, smiling, and entirely handmade. These are the bottle bug ornaments, where old plastic bottles take flight again. Not in landfills, but in laughter. Ladybugs, their red backs dotted with imperfect black paint, rest on wooden posts. Dragonflies with translucent wings hover beside flower pots. Butterflies curl gently from fences, their wings speckled with blues and violets drawn by a child's brush. Each insect, once forgotten plastic, is now a joy in motion or in stillness, depending on the breeze. To make one, begin with what you might throw away. The body of a bottle, the cap for a face, wire for antennae, plastic spoons or clear packaging cut into wings. Paint boldly or softly. Use what you have. Let imagination lead. A child might shape the wings. A grandparent might help bend the wire. Together, it becomes more than craft. It becomes connection. These bugs don't buzz. They don't bite. They just exist, quiet reminders that art lives in the overlooked. They climb fences, perch on pots, hang from pergolas. Sometimes you'll forget they're there, until the light catches a wing, and they wink back at you. They require no garden expertise, no plan, only play. Paint them with smiles, or tiny eyes. Let your bees wear polka dots. Let your butterflies dance in clashing colors. There are no rules here, only stories waiting to be told by hands that care. And over time, these creatures become part of the place. The bees return each spring. The dragonflies glimmer through summer. The butterflies rest through fall. They don't wilt. They don't fade. They stay. Because what they really carry isn't just color or shape, but presence. They say, someone made this. Someone cared. And when a guest pauses to admire a cheerful beetle perched near the thyme, they're not just seeing a bug. They're seeing intention, joy, a whisper of childhood returned. So next time you spot an empty bottle, don't toss it. Turn it, paint it, give it wings. Let it rest where the flowers bloom, and let your garden smile back. Some gardens grow upward, not out. In corners where the ground is scarce and the sun still finds its way through the slats of a balcony or the quiet side of a shed, something new begins to bloom. Not from pots, but from gravity and care. This is the bottle herb hanging tower, where space doesn't limit life, and each bottle becomes a skyward cradle for something green. Strung one beneath the other with rope or twine, these bottles form a vertical chain of possibility, each one trimmed and hollowed, filled with soil and a little patience. Inside, mint spreads soft and slow. Parsley stands proud. Thyme spills like wild hair. The setup is simple yet artful. Start with clean bottles, cut near the middle to hold soil, or sliced near the top to let roots stretch. Drill or pierce a small drainage hole. Thread twine through the neck, knotting it to support each layer. Stack them gently, tier by tier, like a ladder of life. Paint them if you wish, or leave them raw, letting sunlight shimmer through the clear curves. Some paint their sky blue, others lemon yellow. Some add tiny chalk labels. Basil, lavender, hope. Hang your tower from a pergola beam, from a hook in the kitchen window, from a nail driven lovingly into reclaimed wood. Let it find the breeze. Let it drip softly, feeding itself from level to level. This kind of garden doesn't ask for land, only intention, and maybe a few quiet mornings with your hands in the soil. And what it gives in return, aroma, beauty, nourishment, is far greater than the effort spent. Children can water the top and watch the drops trickle downward. Elders can clip a leaf for their tea without bending low. And you, the maker, can sit back and admire not just what you've grown, but how. A tower from bottles, the structure of reuse, a soft rebellion against not enough space. Because in the end, this isn't just a planter, it's a lesson that growth doesn't always require room, just love lifted. At first glance, it may seem like nothing. A plastic bottle, clear and common, hanging from a bit of wire. But look again, and you'll see something far more profound. A rhythm of hydration, kindness in motion. This is the bottle chicken water drip system, where sustainability meets care in the quiet routines of backyard life. Here, the hens roam freely beneath dappled light, and above them, a bottle waits. With every gentle peck to the nipple at its base, a droplet falls, clear, cool, clean. No spills, no waste, just enough. These waterers are not just DIY hacks. They are gestures of respect for creatures that give us so much. They are low-tech elegance, simple ingenuity born from awareness and love. Creating one is easy. Begin with a used plastic bottle, ideally 1.5 or 2 liters in size. Wash it well, then drill a small hole in the cap. Insert a poultry nipple, available at most farm or pet supply stores, and tighten. Hang the bottle upside down at just the right height for a hen's beak to reach. Use twine, zip ties, or a wood bracket for support. Fill with fresh water. Watch the chickens gather, curious at first, then content. They'll learn quickly. One peck, one sip. The sound is soft, like rain tapping a leaf. This system keeps the water clean, elevated, visible. You can check levels at a glance. No more muddy dishes. No more waste soaked into straw. Just hydration, delivered with intention. It's beautiful in its simplicity, elegant in its function. And in this act of reuse, of giving a bottle one more life, we also give comfort, daily, consistent, and easy to maintain. For the elderly homesteader, for the beginner urban farmer, for families raising hens in a modest coop behind a garden shed. Each bottle becomes part of the rhythm, part of the trust between caretaker and creature. Because in the smallness of it, the drop, the tap, the fluttering feather, lives something sacred. A recognition that even the most ordinary item can offer dignity. So don't throw that bottle away. Fill it, hang it, and let it serve, quietly and meaningfully, in a the corner where life clucks and scratches and waits for morning. Before the tomatoes climb, before the beans reach, before the flowers curl up the trellis, you need a place to begin. Something steady, something rooted, but not everything strong has to be store-bought. Sometimes it's made from something as simple as a bottle. These are concrete bottle garden anchors, humble, sturdy, and quietly ingenious. They begin their lives as soda or water bottles, scratched, empty, forgotten. But with a bit of cement and intention, they become the foundation for a garden's growth, cradling wooden stakes, supporting frames, holding the quiet geometry of order and structure. To make one, slice a bottle open cleanly or use it whole, depending on your setup. Mix cement with care, thick but pourable. Insert your post, square, round, bamboo, scrap wood. Hold it straight, let it set in the sun. You'll see the concrete rise like stone, hardening in a shape that carries the memory of the plastic but not its fragility. Once dry, the bottle may remain or be peeled away. Some leave it on, letting the green or clear casing reflect sunlight and mark the edge of a garden bed. Others trim it away for a raw, earthy look. Place it wherever you need a hold. At the corner of a raised bed, the foot of a trellis, the base of a bean teepee, or the start of a cucumber tunnel. They're not perfect. The concrete may bubble. The surface may crack slightly, but they're real, functional, and rooted not just in soil but in reuse. In a world that urges us to buy solutions, these anchors remind us we can make our own. From waste, from time, from still mornings spent with a trowel and a bottle that once held only sugar and fizz. Now it holds purpose, and when you see your plants climb, strong, upright, sure, you'll know that growth doesn't begin with beauty. It begins with foundation, with the things we often throw away. So pause before you toss that next bottle. Feel its shape in your hands. Picture it, filled not with drink, but with the future weight of life. Then pour, place, plant, and let it hold steady all that you build. In a forgotten corner of the garden, beneath a canopy of soft leaves and early light, rests something grounded. Not loud, not fancy, but shaped by quiet hands and steady time. It's a concrete ashtray, molded not from clay or stone, but from a plastic bottle once tossed aside. This is the concrete bottle ashtray. Simple, intentional, a meditation in form. It begins with a soda bottle, cut at the base, cleaned, and laid flat. Cement is mixed, not too wet, not too dry. Poured gently into the mold, it takes the shape of what once held carbonation and flavor. Now it holds stillness. As the concrete sets, you carve grooves. Soft lines for a cigarette, a pause, a breath. The surface isn't polished. It's raw, grainy, honest. Perhaps a bubble formed. Perhaps the edge didn't settle evenly. But that's the beauty. It's human. When the mold is peeled away, what remains is something quietly tactile. Fits the hand. It sits heavy and grounded on the table's edge or on the stump beneath the pine tree. It doesn't ask for attention. It offers presence. For some, it's a place to rest while sipping morning coffee. For others, a corner to reflect in the hush of dusk. And for those who no longer smoke, it becomes a stone bowl for incense, for stones, for memory. The joy of it is not only in its form, but its origin. No need to buy, no need to waste. Just a bottle, just cement, just a little patience. The kind of project that asks for slowness, an hour of your time and a quiet place to let it set. You might place it on the balcony, or beside the fire pit. You might gift it, paint it, or let the rain etch it further. Because it's more than an ashtray. It's a gesture, a reminder that even waste has weight, that even rest can be designed, that stillness, too, deserves form. So next time your hand hovers over the recycling bin, pause. Feel the bottle's base. Picture it heavy with calm, carved with intention, settled into the quiet curve of your day, and build something small, something honest, something that stays. In a world where space is shrinking and rooftops rise higher than trees, there's still room to grow, sometimes in the least expected direction. Here, in an open window or beneath a quiet balcony beam, herbs hang upside down, not as an experiment, but as a graceful rebellion, a way of saying, I will grow anyway. This is the upside-down hanging herb garden, a vertical cradle for green life made from what we once threw away. Each bottle, suspended by twine or wire, holds more than soil and roots. It holds purpose, a will to stretch toward the sun, even when the world is turned on its head. Start with a clean bottle. Slice it near the base. Turn it upside down. Thread a cloth wick or cotton rope through the cap. This becomes your lifeline, drawing water from a small reservoir below. Fill the bottle with light, breathable soil. Plant a young herb, basil, rosemary, thyme, and watch as it reaches not up, but down. Hang it from a pergola, a curtain rod, a recycled ladder leaned against a sun-drenched wall. Let gravity do its work. Let the roots dangle. Let the leaves spill like cascading ribbons. It's more than design. It's defiance. Beauty that doesn't care for convention. Over time, each planter becomes part of your rhythm. You water the top just a little. You check the leaves. You pinch a sprig of mint for tea, a leaf of basil for your lunch. You notice the light, the warmth, the quiet. Children are amazed by the upside-down magic. Elders find peace in its simplicity. And you, somewhere in between, feel connected to something grounding, even if it's growing in the air. No expensive tools, no sprawling land, just bottles, string, and care. The joy is not just in the harvest, it's in the transformation. Trash into treasure, stillness into nourishment, space into sanctuary. So the next time you glance at an empty bottle, don't see it as something used. See it as something beginning. Flip it, fill it, hang it, and let your herbs grow wild, in defiance of gravity, in celebration of life, and in the small, steady truth that beauty can hang in the balance. There's something poetic about a spiral. It's the shape of wind, of growth, of time unfurling slowly. And when crafted from what we might otherwise throw away, it becomes more than form, it becomes story. The bottle spiral wind mobile hangs quietly in the corner of a garden, a porch, or the low branch of a beloved tree. It doesn't spin with urgency. It dances. It turns with the rhythm of the day, catching light and whispering movement into stillness. To make one, all you need is a plastic bottle, any size, any kind. Peel away the label, clean it, then, with a steady hand, cut a long spiral from bottom to top slowly, gracefully, like carving air. You'll see it come to life even before it's hung, curling like a fern in spring. Paint it boldly if you wish, stripes, rainbows, waves, or leave it bare and let the sunlight turn it into glass. For added magic, tie a bell, a shell, or a bead to the end. The weight helps it spin, the sound helps it sing. Hang it from a pergola beam, a tree branch, a balcony hook. Watch how it catches the wind, not aggressively, but with ease. Children might chase its shadow across the lawn. Elders might pause, smile, and remember something soft and distant. It doesn't demand attention, yet it always earns it. This mobile isn't just decor. It's meditation, the kind you don't have to think about, the kind you notice while sipping tea or watering the basil. A reminder that movement doesn't have to be big to be beautiful. And like all upcycled art, it carries a message. That waste can become wonder. That stillness can turn. That with a little care, even something forgotten can catch the wind and make it visible. In a world that rushes, the spiral slows. In a space filled with noise, the spiral whispers. It doesn't shout for beauty, it becomes it. So next time you hold an empty bottle, picture it not in a bin, but in the air. Picture its color spinning, its shape dancing. And know that even the wind needs something to play with. Something small, something made, something like this. we reach the end of this gentle journey, a quiet trail woven with color, story, and care, where bottles once discarded found their second breath, where wind was caught in spirals, herbs dangled from skyward threads, and joy bloomed from things once forgotten. Through each creation, we weren't just making objects. We were learning to slow down, to see with softer eyes, to notice how small gestures, cutting, painting, planting, can shape beauty that lingers. This is the heart of Verdo Studio, not a place of grand productions, but of thoughtful moments, of shared ideas that whisper you can do this too, with what you have, where you are. These 21 designs were more than DIY projects. They were invitations to reconnect with the earth, to create something real with your hands, to bring warmth to your space without noise or perfection, only intention. And if, along the way, you felt comfort, if a quiet joy rose with the spinning fan, or a spark of wonder bloomed with a bottle vine, then we've shared something meaningful. We gently invite you to subscribe to TERAFLORA Studio, not just to follow content, but to join a slow-growing community of creators, dreamers, and everyday gardeners. Here, creativity is gentle, recycling is soulful, and every video is a soft place to land. Thank you for being here. Thank you for seeing beauty with us. Until we meet again, stay kind, stay curious, and let your hands keep making something beautiful.